Today's top 25 tech stories. Subscribe and hit the bell for daily tech updates. U.S. citizen is found guilty of helping export tech to Iran in violation of sanctions. Mahdi Mohammad Sadeghi, a 43-year-old naturalized U.S. citizen and former employee of Analog Devices, was found guilty of conspiring to illegally export electronic components to Iran in violation of U.S. sanctions. NATO Eastern Flank prepares to fend off Russia, with or without America. NATO Eastern Flank is strengthening its defenses along the border with Russia, including Finland, Poland, and Lithuania, in preparation for potential attacks. This effort comes amid uncertainty over U.S. involvement, following President Donald Trump's questioning of security guarantees and reduced military presence in Europe. Ukraine's plan to unnerve Putin. Ukraine has launched drone attacks on targets in Russian territory, including the Dubna Space Communications Center near Moscow, with President Volodymyr Zelensky announcing relevant actions are being prepared against other enemy facilities. The strikes aim to put political and economic pressure on Putin's regime by starving it of resources and making the war unsustainable for Russia. Ukraine's arms makers say they need to figure out how to constantly update their weapons without slowing output. Ukraine's defense companies are balancing the need to constantly update their weapons with producing enough equipment for the ongoing war against Russia. To achieve this, they are adopting a more flexible design and manufacturing approach while minimizing disruptions to scale production. China lands reusable rocket for first time, state media says. China has successfully landed a reusable Long March 10B rocket for the first time, marking a major breakthrough in the country's space program. The booster returned vertically and was recovered on a floating platform, potentially enabling China to challenge American dominance in reusable rockets. Russian missile and drone attack on Ukraine's capital kills at least 12. Russian missile and drone attacks on Ukraine's capital Kyiv have killed at least 12 people and injured many more. The strikes, which targeted residential areas, exposed gaps in Ukraine's air defenses and came in retaliation for recent Ukrainian long-range strikes that caused fuel shortages. The Anti-Palantir Manifesto. Programmers working on the internet are morally responsible to the global community, not individual countries, according to the Anti-Palantir Manifesto, which emphasizes the internet's universal design since its inception. A Ukrainian drone maker says too much factory automation can be a weakness in a fast-changing war. Frontline Robotics. A Ukrainian drone maker prioritizes manual assembly over automation to keep up with rapid battlefield changes, making small updates 20 times a month and major updates every 6 months. This approach allows for flexibility and adaptability, as automation can freeze product versions, limiting the ability to make frequent changes. Hexath stands up a new drone office with authority on everything from one-way attack drones to ground robots and boats. Pentagon Secretary Pete Hegseth established the Direct Reporting Portfolio Manager for Unmanned Systems DRPMX's office, consolidating most drone programs under one entity to accelerate procurement and fielding of uncrewed systems in the U.S. military. The new office will oversee a wide range of unmanned systems, including drones, boats, robots, AI systems, and counter-drone technology. FCC finds multiple companies it says are bringing DJI tech into the U.S. The U.S. Federal Communications Commission has fined 8 companies $25,000 each for allegedly ignoring inquiries related to the importation and sale of wireless products, including those linked to DJI technology. The companies have until July 20 to respond before the agency considers further enforcement measures. A U.S. license could let Ukraine produce Patriot missiles, but it won't be simple or quick. U.S. President Donald Trump has pledged to give Ukraine a license to produce Patriot air defense systems, which could mark a major breakthrough for Kyiv in shielding its cities and infrastructure from Russian missiles and drones. However, experts warn that turning the idea into real weapons would likely take years, with details on what exactly Ukraine would be allowed to produce still unclear. Western defense companies are looking to Ukrainian firms for lessons on how to build in wartime conditions. Western defense companies are partnering with Ukrainian arms makers to learn from their experience building weapons in wartime conditions, seeking to adopt their rapid manufacturing processes and adaptability under attack. Top U.S. general says Ukraine's F-16s recently shot down their first Russian fighter jet, showing how far its air defense has come. U.S. Air Force Gen. Dan King confirmed that Ukraine's F-16 fighter jets recently shot down their first Russian fighter jet, marking a significant milestone in Ukraine's improved air defense capabilities. The engagement demonstrates Ukraine's growing ability to scale its layered defense systems against varied threats. Inside Ukraine's game-changing drone industry. Ukraine's drone industry has experienced significant growth, driven by government support and private investment, with companies like Ukrbornservice and Luch developing advanced unmanned aerial vehicles UAVs for military and civilian use. NATO is looking to create the same battlefield feedback loop Ukraine has. NATO is seeking to replicate Ukraine's battlefield feedback loop, where issues on the front lines are quickly addressed by the defense industry through high-level connections. U.S. Air Force Gen. Alexis Grinkiewicz notes that some allied countries have already started adopting this approach, such as NATO Forward Land Forces Battle Group in Romania, which tests commercial off-the-shelf technology in the field. Iranian strike damages a Kuwait desalination plant, exposing water vulnerability in dry Mideast. Iranian strikes damaged a Kuwaiti desalination plant, affecting one of the country's main sources of drinking water. The attack highlights the vulnerability of Middle Eastern countries, which rely heavily on technology to produce fresh water and could face significant disruptions without these plants. Israel's Iron Beam laser is seeing surging global interest as militaries look for cheap drone solutions, top missile official says. Global interest in Israel's Iron Beam laser weapon system is surging as militaries seek cheap air defenses to counter drone threats, with many countries showing huge interest and seeking performance data. The directed energy system can destroy drones, rockets, artillery, and missiles at the speed of light at practically no cost, making it an attractive option for potential buyers. Can AI systems make moral decisions in war? AI systems are being integrated into militaries' kill chains, raising questions about their ability to make moral decisions in war. As AI becomes increasingly embedded, concerns shift from accuracy to moral implications, with some questioning whether machines can replace human decision-makers. Can Nigeria's drone industry deliver Africa's defense sovereignty? Nigeria-based startup Terra Industries is developing and manufacturing drones, surveillance towers, and unmanned ground vehicles, with over 70 of its inputs sourced locally in a bid to increase Africa's defense sovereignty. The company's systems are currently used to protect infrastructure valued at approximately $11 billion across 8 African countries and Canada. Ukraine's weapons makers fear a costly slowdown after their tech champion was pushed out of the defense ministry. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has unexpectedly dismissed Defense Minister Mikhailo Fedorov, a 35-year-old reformist who drove innovations in the country's military technology sector. The move has sparked concerns about a costly slowdown and potential setbacks for Ukraine's defense industry. After its first naval drone strike, the U.S. is now teaming up with the maker of Ukraine's battle-tested Megura to build out its fleet. The UK-based company UFORCE, maker of Ukraine's Megura naval drones, is partnering with U.S. boat builder Reckoncraft to produce drone boats in the U.S. for the U.S. military. This partnership will make available to the U.S. combat-proven unmanned systems and technologies tested by Ukrainian and other militaries under demanding battlefield conditions. Ukraine fires 400 drones toward Moscow as Zelensky grapples with protests. Ukraine launched over 400 drones toward Moscow, with most down far from the city and 85 intercepted near it. The attack followed Russian strikes on Ukrainian cities, including Kiev, as President Volodymyr Zelensky attempts to address a domestic political crisis sparked by his government reshuffle. Long-lost coral reefs rediscovered off the coast of Africa. Researchers have rediscovered a long-lost coral reef off the coast of Benin in West Africa, 60 years after it was initially detected but deemed dead due to its death. The thriving deepwater community has shown resilience against climate change. No war for old men. Ukraine's military has shifted its focus from traditional artillery and tanks to drone warfare, with over 80 of battlefield casualties now attributed to drones. The technology, initially met with skepticism by older generals, gained acceptance after a coalition of junior officers and tech enthusiasts demonstrated its effectiveness in taking out Russian infrastructure targets. The first U.S. sea drone strike in Iran set the stage for a new way of NATO warfighting. It's coming, top commander says. The U.S. military's first ever sea drone strike in Iran has set the stage for NATO to modernize its warfighting capabilities, with a top commander stating that sea drones will play a new combat role. NATO is working on standardizing and integrating sea drones across forces to enable seamless operation alongside warships of any nationality. Thanks for watching. Like and comment below. See you in the next update.